The VPD death spiral is what I call the phenomenon that I've seen in a lot of facilities, less so in recent years as people have become more familiar with understanding the physics of VPD and using humidifiers. But there's a couple of things that can happen when you start a new room, especially a new flower room with small plants. In sealed rooms, if you don't have humidifiers, all of the humidity is going to be coming from transpiration itself into the air. And if you're using CO2 in a sealed room, then one of the side effects of supplementing CO2 is lower stomatal conductance, which means the stomata, the little pores in the plant leaf, will actually get a little bit smaller under high CO2 conditions. What this means is that the plants will actually release a little bit less water. And this can be, in general, a good thing in some ways because it can prevent some drought stress in certain conditions. But you can also get into this high VPD death spiral where you move plants into a new room with CO2 and they're not producing very much humidity yet. And what happens is the VPD in here is really, really high. There's a lot of suction force on the leaves and water is being pulled through at a really high rate, which the plants don't like. And so the stomata will close and the high CO2 levels will facilitate this even more. The problem is, as the stomata close, they absorb less and less CO2 and they release less and less water into the air. As less water is going into the air, the humidity goes down further, the VPD goes higher, and the amount of transpiration stress continues up. So the plant closes the stomata even more. And this happens to the point where there's like negative spiral to where a plant is not even photosynthesizing anymore. And you can watch the growth rates and the transpiration and the water content usage just drop down to almost zero. There's a couple of different ways to fix this. The most common one now and the easiest one is to use humidifiers. And if you add humidity to the air, you can bring the VPD back into a range where you have high stomatal conductance and the plant can release gases and take in gases freely without suffering a lot of climate stress. And in general, the other option is you can decrease the lighting intensity pretty significantly, which will cause your air conditioners to run less. And as a side effect of running less, they'll remove a lot less humidity from the environment as well. And this will let the humidity come up into a range where the VPD is now within a target and the plants can kind of get their footing in the new room, grow a little bit, start producing more humidity, and then you can ramp the light intensity back up.
I think that's a great point. We've even seen this too being exacerbated when people would kind of go off of old school ideologies of pumping excessive amounts of CO2 versus just doing what is now more acceptable of 2 or 3 times normal atmosphere at 900, maybe 1,000 versus running 2,000 or 2,500 ppm.
Yeah. And there's such massively diminishing returns to CO2 levels over, 1,200, you start to level off. And I think by 1,500, there's just like adding more CO2 isn't really doing anything. And of course, it's all, even using that much CO2 above 1,200 is entirely dependent upon temperature and PPFD and so on. Yeah, it's really easy for people to overuse CO2. And I think that's actually become a lot less common. You see a lot of facilities now that just kind of run their CO2 at 1,200 for most of the cycle. And I think that works really well.
I think people being aware of this too, if you imagine, say, a startup and you have a brand new building, and I wouldn't design this way anymore, but it's a good example would be, say you have 6 stages of growth in one large room. Day one, that room is empty. And if you don't have an ability, much like Tyler brought up, to increase the humidity or change your VPD anyway, well, day one in that room versus day 60 and running a perpetual cycle is going to be drastically different. And so talking with customers too, sometimes their experiences change over time from season to season and what's going on outside and how well they can maintain humidity inside, or based on how full the room is. Even if you have individual rooms and say your veg was smaller than you expected, but you needed to stick to a schedule, or the opposite, it was overgrown, you're going to get different reactions from the canopy and the crop based on just the fullness or the amount of plant material in the room. You have factors that change over time, from cultivation not being consistent, like the veg time, or just veg health, cloning health, from round to round to round, variables that do exist naturally and relate to what the crop is going to look like. And then you have experiences that are going to happen that you likely won't ever encounter again, which would be commissioning a building, for instance. Day one versus getting the whole production up and going is going to be different. And so I think that's important. And then I like touching on items like that from topic to topic as well, because growers will relate to it as well. They'll be like, well, yeah, I mean, when I was still trying to dial in my veg time or figure out what my exact pot size was going to be and my densities were, I did struggle with these things. But then as I got support from Front Row Ag, or I figured these things out on my own by tracking data, an issue that once was an issue, it just isn't an issue anymore.
That's what we like to hear. When issues,
yeah, that's it.
issues, so you can forget about them.